if you go back to an interview that Andrew Smith, who's at Celtic Underground now, but who had written at the Celtic View and had been a professional journalist, he was on Graham Spears' podcast back in May, I think, and basically did a recounting of an interview he did with Dermot Desmond back when he was at the club, and basically Desmond was up front that he's the man, he's the one in control, but he does not want the social consequences of that control. He does not want to be at the match and having to deal, I'm not suggesting he said this, but I'm kind of paraphrasing what I took away from it. He doesn't want to be with the commoners. He doesn't want to deal with the punter, so basically Peter Lawwell was his human shield to that degree, in taking all of the crap, where, it's been Desmond who's really set this culture and set the policy. And it seems, again, from what I've heard, increasingly been directly involved in transfers at a much higher degree. I mean, he'd always been involved to a certain degree, but now it's been, since Lawwell, stepped down from CEO, it's apparently been a lot more. So how do you make that guy uncomfortable? Because he's never at the games. I mean, are people going to fly over to Ireland and picket his golf hole when he's golfing with Rory McIlroy? I mean, I don't know. Are they going to go to Barbados and picket his resorts? I'm not suggesting anyone do any of that, by the way. I'm just saying that, that he's the type of guy. It's not going to be easy to make him uncomfortable. And when there was a season when there was a level of, the shark throwing and everything else that was going on, he didn't back down. He doubled down and basically said, "Get it right up, you. I'm letting Neil Lennon run this fucker right into the toilet." And we're not only going to do that, we're going to go to Dubai in the middle of a pandemic and take this shit right off the rails.
Yeah. I don't really remember it being so much pointedly directed at him.
And that's good.
And I think that's what's changing now.
I agree.
So, it was all. We'll see. Lawwell took the fall for anything. It was always Lawwell. It was never Desmond. Now people, because Nicholson is seemingly kind of, I don't know. He's just
he's an administrator. He's an administrator.
Yeah, right. But but people are really starting to the larger support are really starting to get more wise to, hey, what is really going on here? And that's starting to point the finger at Dermot Desmond.
So while I sympathize and I'm directionally in agreement with the letter that was put out today, I'm skeptical that it's really going to do much, because I think, the way that this theoretically could happen is if there's a legal move because he's operating something as a family office or family business as a non-executive director. But outside of that, it's really going to come down to whether he decides that he wants to give up that control, or somehow people can accumulate enough shares or convince one of the other major shareholders to start causing some noise in the boardroom. But, he's specifically built this to isolate himself and to protect himself. So I don't know. But make it uncomfortable. That's my view has been, say the name.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's we've talked about that the last few weeks. So and that's, I kind of have included Dermot in the board, and that's probably incorrect. And he probably needs to be separated from that to have his own criticism, hit straight at him, as opposed to, at this amorphous thing that is the board. That
he also has a coalition that is giving him that power. He doesn't have the percentage power, but just by himself.
Yeah, we don't know for sure on that, actually. So there's 17% that's registered through, I think it's Mellon. And there's, to my understanding, and I've talked to a couple of people, there's no look through as far as transparency of who owns those shares. Because Mellon's just a huge custodian. So could that be his kids? Could it be his twin uncle? I mean, who knows? Because that 17 plus his 34 would, I can do that math. That would get him up over the threshold. But again, I take your point, Sean. But that's where when we have this kind of vacuum of detail, we can't know some of the specifics.
Hello, lovely boys. I love the Celtic world. I do. Absolutely brilliant. If you haven't already, subscribe immediately.